My spouse's first love, who had been in a coma, finally regained consciousness. Overwhelmed with joy, he embraced her, shedding tears of happiness, unaware that I had passed away. However, his first love never truly awakened. I had taken control of her. 2 days prior, I had requested a separation from Ethan, declaring that our marriage was over. Ethan reacted with fury, hurling the separation documents at me with a stern expression. "Emma, you were the one who pleaded to marry me. Now you just want to leave like this?" he retorted. He continued, "You owe Clara your life. You turned her into a vegetable, and I want you to suffer forever." Ethan's harsh words made me feel suffocated. On a Friday morning, I decided to go for a hike. Reaching the summit, I slipped and fell, meeting my end. When I regained consciousness, a nurse was shouting excitedly, "Clara has awakened, it's a miracle." Staring at my reflection in the mirror, I could barely believe it. It truly was a miracle. I had transformed from Emma into Clara, Ethan's first love, the very person I had once aspired to be. I awoke in the middle of the night. Upon hearing the commotion, Ethan hurried over and embraced me tightly. "Clara, you're finally awake." His eyes were red with disbelief as he held my hand. "Is this real?" Clara had been comatose for 5 years. She stood before Ethan, fully recovered. Naturally, he was in shock, and so was I. "Clara, why aren't you speaking?" Ethan looked at her with a concern and tenderness I had never seen before. When he looked at me, it was always with indifference and disgust. He turned to the doctor and coldly ordered, "Give her a complete examination." The results were swift. She was in excellent health. "Ethan, Clara has just woken up. She hasn't acclimated to her environment after being bedridden for 5 years. It's normal that she can't speak yet," the doctor explained eagerly. Clara was the first person I had seen recover after so many years. I struggled to speak, unable to form more than single-syllable words. That evening, Ethan finalized Clara's discharge papers and brought her home. The living room and entrance were familiar. I instinctively reached for the gray slippers I usually wore, but they no longer fit. I had nearly forgotten that I was no longer Emma. I was now Clara. Clara's feet couldn't fit into Emma's shoes. Noticing this, Ethan searched the shoe cabinet. He found only Emma's size. "Clara, we only have guest slippers available. You'll need to wear these tonight. I'll get you new ones tomorrow." I put on the slippers and headed toward the bedroom. "Clara, I prepared the guest room for you." Before Ethan could finish, I opened the master bedroom door that I had left unlocked on Friday morning without taking my phone. Inside, I saw my phone on the nightstand. "Clara, you can't stay here!" Ethan pulled me back as I attempted to enter. He looked exhausted. "This is Emma's room." I stared at him, confused. Ethan had once told me, "Emma, everything you have now belongs to Clara, including me." Doesn't that mean Clara can enter any room she wants? Emma could return at any time. She doesn't like others touching her things. His eyes were vacant, and his fatigue overshadowed his earlier excitement. He sighed, a flicker of irritation crossing his strong features. I smiled at him. "I won't return. I'm already gone. Fell from the mountain." It's a pity Ethan didn't seem to notice. Of course he wouldn't. He never cared about me. How could he know? Ethan and I had known each other since childhood. For 27 years, I had loved Ethan for 14 of those years. In middle school, at 13, innocent and naive, a boy from another class asked me to be his girlfriend. Terrified, I hid in a corner, unsure of what to do. Ethan appeared, blocking the boy. "She's my girlfriend! Leave her alone!" Who was Ethan? He was the star of the school, always excelling academically since first grade. His family's business was well known locally. Who would dare interfere with him? "Emma, how can you be so naive? Can't you just tell him no?" He flashed a youthful smirk. "From now on, I'll protect you." From that day, I believed having a boyfriend like Ethan wouldn't be bad. Throughout middle school, I had 2 goals: to enter the same high school and to win Ethan's heart. To achieve this, I studied diligently and secured admission to the same high school as Ethan with the second highest scores. On graduation day, I was sick at home. He brought me the acceptance letter. "Emma, what a coincidence! We'll be classmates again!" he exclaimed. My heart swelled with joy, sniffling due to my cold. "Who wouldn't want you as a classmate?" Back then, I even considered him my future husband. But everything changed when high school began because of Clara, an orphan. She was different from both Ethan and me. Naturally delicate and vulnerable, she cried when she failed a test or was bullied. Her foster parents treated her poorly, but she endured. She was truly unique. She worked part-time, did housework, and helped her foster parents with laundry. Her life was harsh. She was markedly different. Ethan and I often secretly assisted her. Soon, the three of us became close. I took Clara to social events, shared secrets with her, including my feelings for Ethan. Then, school rearranged classes. Clara ended up in Ethan's class, while I was placed in the adjacent one. I fell for Ethan, but Clara reassured me. "Don't worry, Emma, I'll watch over him for you." However, on our high school graduation day, Ethan held Clara's hand in front of me. "Emma, I'm with Clara now. I love her." I vividly remember standing at the corridor's end, watching Ethan lead her away until they vanished. I altered my plans, left the city, and completely severed ties with them. "Clara, what do you like? I can get it for you." Ethan's words disrupted my thoughts. I realized I had walked over to the wardrobe and retrieved the red dress from inside. This was the dress I wore on the day Ethan and I had our engagement party. That day was the happiest and most painful of my life. I took scissors from the bedside table and began cutting the dress into pieces. If I had known that marrying Ethan would lead to this, I wish none of it had ever happened. "Clara, calm down." Ethan reached out and grabbed the scissors, his other hand gently patting my back. His tone was soft and filled with pity. "You just woke up. Your body isn't fully healed yet. I'll take you away from here." I gazed up at Ethan's handsome face in a daze. The tension in his eyes seemed full of love. He must truly love Clara. But why, even after I died, do I have to personally endure how much he loves Clara again? Is this my punishment for marrying him? For the next 3 days, Ethan tried to compensate for Clara by redecorating the entire guest room in pink. Neither he nor Clara mentioned me again, nor did they bring up the red dress I had destroyed. Ethan took an extended leave to stay with Clara, awkwardly cleaning the kitchen and cooking for her. Yet, I always sensed a subtle emotion in his eyes when he looked at her. Sometimes he glanced at his phone, stared blankly at the TV, or gazed out at the heavy rain. Conversations between him and Clara seemed sparse, likely because Clara had just awakened from a coma and couldn't speak yet. Suddenly, there was a loud knock at the door. My best friend had come looking for me. She knocked so forcefully she nearly broke the door down. As soon as Ethan opened it, she began shouting, "Where's Emma? Ethan, I haven't been able to reach her for 3 days." Linda's face was filled with anger as she barged in. "She went hiking on Friday and hasn't been heard from since. Her phone isn't working. I checked the surveillance at the mountain entrance. She went up but never came down." She held up her phone showing Ethan their chat history. The last message I sent her was, "Linda, I'm going hiking." I didn't respond to any of the videos she sent afterward. "Emma just didn't bring her phone." Ethan frowned, his lips pressed tightly together. "See, he just thought I didn't have my phone. Even so, she wouldn't have gone 3 days without contacting anyone." As Linda spoke, her eyes scanned me. Her eyes widened in shock, lips trembling. Ethan instinctively stepped forward, blocking Clara's body. She's awake." Linda looked toward Clara, her hand trembling as she pointed. "No wonder you don't care about Emma at all. It's because of her again. Ethan, Emma was the one your family wanted you to marry. She's just missing, and you've already brought Clara home. Ethan, do you have no conscience? It's been pouring rain these past few days. What if Emma is trapped on the mountain? Ethan, if you didn't love her and she wanted a separation, why didn't you just let her go?" Linda vented all her anger in one breath, her eyes red as she struggled to hold back her emotions. "My matters with Emma are none of your business. When we get divorced, it's my decision." Ethan smirked, his expression full of disdain, a look I often saw in him as if I owed him something. "Clara was in a coma for 5 years because Emma was hit by a car. When Emma returns, she must properly care for Clara to make amends." He forcefully shut the door, pushing Linda out. Turning around, he looked at Clara, the emotion in his eyes masking his sorrow. "Did she scare you? Emma always likes to use these tricks to get my attention. So childish." Ethan wearily waved at me. "It's late. You should rest." I stared blankly at him. I had returned to this city because Ethan's father had approached my grandfather, proposing an arranged marriage between our families. His father mentioned that Ethan had always had feelings for Emma. The two had been close since childhood. It would be fortunate if they got together. That night, I received a message from Ethan. "Let's get married." I specifically asked someone to investigate Ethan's relationship status and Clara's situation. The feedback revealed that they had broken up long ago. Ethan was single during college. Many people pursued me, but I subconsciously compared everyone to Ethan. My grandfather advised me to marry someone I truly liked rather than someone I didn't. I believed him and happily agreed to marry Ethan. However, at our engagement party, Ethan didn't show up. I became the subject of gossip. Some even said Ethan didn't want to marry me. On our wedding day, it was the first time in years I saw him alive, but he didn't even look me in the eye. All I remember was him toasting nonstop, reeking of alcohol. My eagerly anticipated wedding night was also brutally ruined by him. Ethan cornered me in the bathroom, gripping my jaw tightly. "Marrying me happily, Emma? I'll give you anything you want." All I remember is the pain. It hurt so much that I bit his shoulder, leaving a mark. Later, I discovered that this marriage proposal was just a scam. The Ethan group's finances had dried up, and without Ethan's consent, they arranged our marriage and secretly sent Clara abroad. From the start, Ethan despised me. He even believed it was all part of my plan. "Clara, why are you still standing?" Ethan reached out to Paul, Clara, but halfway through he withdrew his hand. A hint of conflict flashed in his eyes. "Your legs aren't well. Go rest." I averted my gaze, returned to the guest room, turned off the light, and quickly fell asleep. I even hoped that when I woke up, I could escape this body and distance myself from Ethan, never to encounter him again in my next life. In the middle of the night, I woke up still in Clara's body. I sighed lightly and went downstairs to get some fresh air. But I didn't expect to hear Ethan's stern voice. "Find her! Find her immediately! Search the whole mountain if you have to!" The study door was slightly open, and I could see his computer screen. It showed a video of me entering the mountain trail. "What do you mean it was raining? It's been 3 days already! Not another minute can be wasted, pay them triple!" I noticed the veins throbbing on Ethan's temples. He appeared frantic and agitated. Could he really be searching for me? "Clara." Ethan saw Clara standing at the door and closed his laptop. "Why are you awake? Can't sleep?" His tone was always slow and gentle when speaking to Clara. I ignored him and noticed a shredded separation agreement in the trash can with my signature on it. That was the separation agreement Emma had given me. I saw Ethan smirk. She asked for a separation and then disappeared. Suddenly, I wanted to understand why Ethan refused the separation. I squatted down, picked up a corner of the agreement, and pointed to the signature area. Surely he would tell Clara the truth. "I'm not signing it." He hesitated briefly, then quickly grasped my meaning, sneering. "She owes me. How can I just let her go so easily?" Owes him? Ridiculous. I pulled out my phone, which I hadn't taken up the mountain, and found the old texts Ethan had sent. I had kept those texts, not wanting to delete them before, and now they were evidence. Wasn't this all just Ethan and his father's manipulation? How did it become something where I owe him? "I told you not to touch Emma's things." Ethan reached for the phone. A complex emotion flickered in his eyes. He pressed his lips together, seemingly displeased. Just as he was about to grab the phone, he saw the content on the screen. "Let's get married." The phone number was his, and the message was from him. "This isn't from me." Ethan examined the phone number closely. "Clara, stop tampering with her stuff. She won't be happy when she returns." He snatched the phone from my hand and then grabbed Clara's hand, leading her to the bedroom. "I'll be busy for a few days. Stay here and don't wander around." Ethan rubbed his temples wearily. Just as he was about to leave, I reached out and grabbed him. It wasn't me holding him. My hand moved on its own. During these 2 days in Clara's body, aside from feeling uncomfortable, I often couldn't control her body at all, experiencing moments of complete loss of control, like when I tried to leave but couldn't step outside the door. Or like now, I hugged Ethan from behind. No, Clara hugged him from behind. Time seemed to stand still. Ethan was silent. I tried to withdraw Clara's hands, but they remained beyond my control. After a while, Ethan sighed, released Clara's hands, and said, "Clara, A lot has happened in the 5 years you were unconscious. You saw it earlier. Emma and I are still married. We're not separating. What happened 5 years ago, I'm sorry. I'll try to make it up to you. But between us, it ended the moment you went abroad." Ethan spoke these words with difficulty and didn't dare to look up at Clara, perhaps feeling guilty. After Ethan left, Clara stood in the room for a long time before I regained control over her body. I lay down and quickly fell asleep. The next few days, I didn't see Ethan. He sent a nanny to take care of Clara. Recently, it had been raining heavily every day, so we couldn't dry the clothes. During a nap, I overheard the nanny complaining about the endless rain. It had been raining for days. I tried to leave the house again, but as soon as I reached the door, my body went stiff, and I failed once more. Forget it. A nap might help. Maybe I could leave Clara's body. I barely closed my eyes when a loud noise woke me up. Curious, I headed to the door and saw Ethan's assistant helping him toward the main bedroom. Ethan was drenched, his chiseled face as pale as a sheet, and he seemed too weak to walk. "What happened?" I typed. "Miss Clara, Ethan has a fever. I've called the family doctor." "Don't worry," the assistant said, trying to reassure me. I wasn't worried at all. Ethan had a high fever, looked ghostly pale, and was delirious, constantly muttering. The doctor hooked him up to an IV. It seemed urgent. I glanced at him briefly, uninterested in his half-dead state, and turned to leave. But my feet moved on their own toward the main bedroom, and I ended up sitting by Ethan's bedside. "Miss Clara, it's great that you're here to help with Ethan's 104-degree fever. If it doesn't break by tonight, we'll need to hospitalize him." The assistant sighed deeply. "With you here, he'll recover faster. But I'm Emma." I tried to lift my legs to leave, but instead found myself holding Ethan's hand. His hand was scorching hot, as if burning. If Clara didn't want to leave, fine. I calmly watched him. Ethan's lips were pale, his brows deeply furrowed, and though the water droplets on his body had been wiped away, a thin layer of sweat covered his forehead. This was the first time I'd seen Ethan look so defeated. Where did he go? I took a deep breath. Coming back with a fever after being caught in a storm and needing support. Was he water? Ethan's thin lips parted as he blinked his eyes drowsily. I reached for the water, but hesitated and pulled my hand back. I remembered 5 years ago, just after Clara returned from abroad, I had an accident where the brakes failed and I hit her, leaving her in the hospital in a vegetative state. It happened so suddenly. I was terrified and came down with a high fever. How could I explain to Ethan that it wasn't intentional? He wouldn't believe me anyway. To him, I was the one who ruined Clara's future. He thought I was jealous of Clara and harbored ill intentions. I still remember how he angrily shook off my hand, shouting, "Emma, you're so malicious. Clara's in this condition and you still deny it. A fever is your punishment." Even later, when my grandfather found evidence of the brake failure, Ethan still didn't believe it. He hated me so much that after my grandfather passed away, he took over our company. "Water!" Ethan's raspy voice interrupted my thoughts. "Emma, give me some water." I was startled. Did he just call me Emma? Is he delirious from the fever? Before I could react, he reached for the water cup in my hand, but his grip was unsteady, and he spilled the water onto the floor. "Emma, what's wrong? Why won't you give me water?" He murmured with a hint of grievance in his expression, just like when he was a child in elementary school. Ethan was weak and skinny, not very articulate. He followed me around all day, calling me boss. If I raised my voice at him even slightly, he'd nervously fidget with his clothes and look at me upset. That expression, just like now. But when did things change between us? After middle school, when Clara appeared, or after I married him? "Emma, I don't feel well." "Touch my forehead. It's burning." He clumsily grabbed Clara's hand, looking at Clara's face but calling my name. I shook off his hand and stood up. "Emma! Emma!" He stubbornly reached for Clara's hand again, still dazed, his eyes red and breathing raggedly. "I can't find you. Where are you?" Grabbing Clara's hand, his tone grew tougher, more domineering. "Emma, I said no separation. No ending." Just as he finished speaking, the door opened. Ethan's assistant stood there, looking awkward. "Miss Clara, sorry, Ethan has a fever and is talking nonsense." He placed the medicine by the door, unsure whether to stay or leave, feeling awkward seeing the CEO holding Clara's hand but calling my name. "Miss Clara, Ethan has been looking for Emma these past few days." The assistant cleared his throat, explaining reluctantly. Emma went missing while hiking. It's been a week now. We're afraid the worst has happened. We've nearly combed the entire mountain, but still haven't found her. So Ethan really went looking for me? This man who despises me completely, trying to act so devoted, shouldn't he just abandon me and be content with Clara? I'm too tired, not wanting to get involved in their relationship anymore, but I never expected that. The next day, Ethan brought Linda. This time, Linda was practically dragged here by him. Ethan's condition was much better compared to yesterday. At least when he looked at Clara, he didn't call my name anymore. But I didn't expect that after waking up, I'd see Linda in the living room, looking paler than Ethan. Ethan, you didn't call me here just to show how lovely you and Clara are together, did you? Linda coldly glanced at Clara, then looked away. No need. I don't care about your affairs. She probably harbored hostility toward Clara because of me. What are you and Emma up to? Did you hide her? Ethan's face darkened as he looked at Linda. Hand her over. You really are presumptuous. Do you think Emma is hiding just to test if you care about her? Ridiculous. Who do you think you are? Linda's eyes were red, biting her lip. She's been missing this long and hasn't contacted me. Ethan silently curled his lip, and I saw his hand clenching into a fist. Then he weakly stood up from the sofa. Looks like you don't plan to speak the truth. Take her to the mountain. I don't believe Emma would just watch you fall. There was a frightening emotion in his eyes, and I was startled. Instinctively, I blocked Linda's path and grabbed her hand. Linda froze. Ethan was also stunned. What are you doing? Don't pretend to care. Linda met Clara's eyes and pulled her hand back. Linda never liked Clara. Clara, move! Ethan was impatient, still feverish with bloodshot eyes as he grabbed Linda and headed out. Afraid something might happen, I hurriedly followed. This time, Clara's body didn't stop me from leaving, but I couldn't catch Ethan's car. He drove off toward the mountain with Linda. I glanced at Ethan's assistant, signaling him to follow Ethan's car. But when I reached the mountain's peak, Linda was pinned against the edge by Ethan. Ethan is a complete madman. I stood not far away, clearly hearing Ethan's words. He threatened Linda word for word. I'm giving you one last chance to call her. I need to see Emma right now. Ethan, have you regretted it? Linda glanced at his tightly gripped phone and curled her lips coldly. Afraid Emma will leave you? Afraid she'll separate from you? Regretting it? Yes. She loved you so much, idolized you, cooked for you every day. And how did you treat her? You threw her food in the trash like garbage. You treated her like a villain. You grew up together. Don't you know her personality? Oh, right. Because of Clara, you're blind now. Linda clenched her fists, her eyes turning colder as she saw Clara. Even to her child, my heart ached, making it hard to breathe. 5 years ago, I accidentally became pregnant with Ethan's child, but the baby didn't survive due to Clara's fever and subsequent complications. Every time Ethan pushed me against the bed, he would grip my jaw and remind me, Emma, you're not worthy to carry my child. Fortunately, that never happened again. Stop talking nonsense and call her. Ethan's eyes looked emotionless, his voice cold and commanding. Or I'll really do something drastic. His emotions seemed uncontrollable, making him appear like an enraged wolf ready to explode at any moment. She abandoned you, Linda said, her eyes red and her lips curling up. Emma is dead. Are you satisfied now? Linda took us to the funeral home. I lay there quietly, appearing as if I were asleep, silent. My face was pale like paper, my body slightly swollen. I saw the wounds on my body stitched up, looking so unreal. I always took care of myself, but now I looked so disheveled, like myself but not. Did you see? Satisfied, Linda's voice echoed. Ethan, Emma is dead. When you didn't want to find her, I found her first. She was covered in wounds, soaked by the rain. Poor Emma, she cherished her body and always wanted to look her best for you. Too bad you didn't appreciate it. Now you got what you wanted. Emma is dead, but Clara is back, standing healthy in front of you. You got your wish. I saw Ethan's knuckles turning white as he clenched his fists, veins bulging on his forehead, his face pale. He seemed frozen, unable to move, his bloodshot eyes staring at my body, his face full of disbelief. Knowing Emma, she wouldn't want you to see her like this, Linda said, wiping her tears. Though trying to control her emotions, she continued. But I think you should remember her like this. She will soon be taken away. No. Ethan's face turned slightly pale, his voice trembling. "Without my permission, no one can touch her. I was placed in the freezer storage. After returning home, Ethan locked himself in the study for 3 days without eating or drinking. He didn't even take a sip of water, forbidding anyone from disturbing him." "Miss Clara, please go check on Ethan. He won't get mad at you," the assistant said, looking troubled. But I didn't care if Ethan felt any sadness. It might only be because he remembered the past and felt sorrow over a life suddenly disappearing. I turned to head to the bedroom, but my feet moved uncontrollably. Clara's body walked toward the study, abruptly pushing the door open. "Get out!" Ethan's weak voice mixed with rage came from near the bookshelf, surrounded by empty wine bottles, seeming to be destroying himself. His eyes were bloodshot, glaring at Clara with fury. "Get out!" His tone softened when he saw it was Clara. Clara walked to him and squatted down, somehow finding the strength to lift him from the floor. Ethan's body was burning hot. "I'm telling you to get out!" he said, shaking Clara off, pointing at the study door. "Clara, I feel terrible. You need to leave." I thought maybe Ethan didn't want Clara to see him in such a pitiable state. With stubble and messy hair, Ethan still looked handsome even now. Sadly, looking at his face, I felt nothing. Yet Clara insisted on taking him to the master bedroom to rest. Then she went to the kitchen to make him some hangover soup. As soon as she entered the kitchen, her body control returned to me. It was interesting. I understood Clara's intention, wanting Ethan to sober up and not ruin himself because of me. But she didn't know how to make hangover soup, so she left the cooking to me. I took 2 pears, some black and white mushrooms, and a bit of rock sugar from the fridge to make a bowl of hangover soup for Ethan. He used to be the group's president, often socializing, getting drunk every late night. When he came home drunk, I would cook the hangover soup for him. He never refused it. He hated stomach discomfort more than he disliked my soup. After adding the rock sugar, I took the soup to the master bedroom. Ethan was half lying on the bed, eyes squinting, breathing lightly. He glanced at the hangover soup, then fixed his gaze on Clara. Suddenly, he stretched out his large hand, grasped Clara's wrist, and pulled her into his arms. "You're back! I knew it! That was just a nightmare!" He held Clara tightly, his voice trembling. "Emma, we're not getting divorced. Don't leave me!" "What's going on?" I wanted to ask and ended up blurting it out. Besides my voice being raspy, I could still speak. I clearly felt Ethan stiffen. His grip tightened, then loosened. He replied to me and then said, "You promised you wouldn't leave me." Yes, I indeed said that. When Ethan was little, he was bullied. He was too skinny and introverted. So after I defended him from those who bullied him, I would always pat his shoulder and say, "Aw, Ethan, I'll protect you. I'll never abandon you. I won't leave you. From now on, you're with me. Let's pinky swear?" It turns out he still remembers. I thought he had long forgotten. "Emma, I know you're mad at me, but you shouldn't use this method." His bloodshot eyes stared blankly at Clara. His tone softened. "Whatever you want, I can give it to you. Really?" I smiled. "What about your life?" Ethan was truly drunk. Whenever he drank, he'd start speaking nonsense. And with his fever yet to subside, his words were even more absurd. He stared straight at me without answering. I stood up, pulling a smile. "Just kidding. Don't take it seriously." The hangover soup was ready. I was about to leave when Ethan grabbed my wrist again. "If you want it, I'll give it. Then what if I want Clara to disappear?" My voice was raspy and low, but it was clear. Clara didn't stop me. She seemed to want to know Ethan's answer too. "She can't." This time, Ethan replied firmly. I could clearly feel Clara exhale deeply, her tense state melting away. Of course, Ethan had shown how much he cared for me recently, braving the storm to find me. When he heard I was dead, he fell into despair, still shouting, "Emma! Emma!" remembering our childhood promise. But everything changes if Clara is involved. I wasn't surprised. I glanced at Ethan, shaking off his hand. "Emma, I owe her. If it weren't for her, I might have died long ago. She'll never have children because of me. It's my debt. It's my fault," Ethan muttered, his lips pale. He coughed heavily, his body trembling. "That's your debt. What does it have to do with me?" I laughed. "Ethan, marrying you was my choice, but the way you treated me afterward made me tired and weary. I've told you countless times about the breaks. I don't know what went wrong. I'll say it one last time. It wasn't me. I wouldn't even bother doing it. Clara's life doesn't matter to me. I can discard you anytime as well. Ethan, you're right this time. I'm abandoning you. I didn't look at Ethan's expression anymore, returning to my room. Looking at Clara's face in the mirror, I saw a glimmer of triumph in eyes that didn't belong to me. She was triumphant. Clara won. She triumphed all these years because when Ethan was cornered in the alley, she saved him. Ethan carried her to the hospital, where the doctor said she could never have children due to abdominal injuries. This happened in high school. I only found out after marrying Ethan. Clara, do you think you've really won? Staring into her eyes, I wondered if Ethan's feelings for you were love or guilt. And about not being able to have children, did it happen because you saved Ethan or because your foster parents punished you by making you lie in the snow? And the brakes? Were you the one who tampered with them? My grandfather suspected something back then. I delved into it, discovering other cars' dash cams captured Clara getting into my car. But even if I presented this evidence to Ethan, he wouldn't believe it. I admit defeat in terms of ruthlessness. I can't compare to you, Clara. Using your life to sabotage my relationship with Ethan was quite clever. To me, the truth doesn't matter anymore. I looked away, smiling. I heard a knock on the door. It was Ethan. When I opened it, he pushed his way in, checking everywhere, still looking exhausted, but with a strangely clear mind. Emma, is she here? He looked around, inspecting every corner, even under the bed. His assistant John stood behind him looking apologetic. Sorry to disturb you, Miss Clara. Ethan, Emma hasn't been home. She's already gone. Ethan shot a stern look at his assistant. His chiseled face looked a bit gaunt. She must be here. She talked to me a lot yesterday. His body was trembling slightly. He walked up to Clara, his brows furrowed. Did you make the hangover soup yesterday? I nodded. Impossible. It must be Emma who made it. The sweetness, even the number of rock sugars, was just like what she used to make. Ethan's lips trembled with excitement. It was Emma! It had to be Emma! Ethan didn't like rock sugar. He said he disliked its taste, but I always put 3 pieces in his hangover soup. It turns out he remembered. I moved my lips to speak, but my voice failed me again. I couldn't say a word. She's definitely here. She hasn't left. Ethan searched the room several more times in vain. Finally, he sat on the floor, covering his face, very despondent. He still hadn't accepted it. I'm sure. She talked to me yesterday, Ethan said, his body trembling even more. The assistant stood by looking awkwardly at Clara, unsure what to say. Ethan stubbornly searched the entire villa several more times before the assistant took him to the funeral home. I heard he stood by my body for a long time, long enough that when he returned, he looked even more haggard and thin. This time, he looked seriously into Clara's eyes. He reached out, grabbing her hand. Come to the study with me. I have something to say. Ethan locked the door. He kept pushing Clara until she was backed up against the bookshelf. He stared at her as if he had been searching for her for a long time, and then let out a deep breath. Clara? Things with Emma are over. I'm exhausted. These past few days, at least the Emma family has an answer now. Emma wants a separation. I want to give her closure too. He pulled out a phone, his brows furrowed. Her phone has the separation papers. Even if she might already be a widow, she wanted a separation, so I'll give it to her. I immediately recognized that it was my phone. All the sadness and heartache were in the past. Remembering her as a child, it felt like so much time had flown by. He massaged his temples. Clara, but that's all behind us now. Let's fulfill Emma's last wish. Print the separation papers again, and I'll sign them. Let the separation papers go with Emma and remove them from our lives completely. He placed the phone in my hand. I stared at the phone for a long time. Instagram kept buzzing with messages from Linda. She sent many, all saying how much she missed me. I opened it reflexively, entered the password, and read Linda's messages. She hadn't accepted that I was gone. Maybe after all this ends, I can leave Clara's body and have nothing to do with Ethan or Clara anymore. The documents? I don't know where they are, Ethan muttered to himself. I saved them in a separate folder on the phone. I found it and sent it to him. But when our eyes met, I realized something was wrong. My heart raced uncontrollably. I took a deep breath, feeling the blood freeze in my veins. This was all wrong. Emma, you're Emma. Ethan stared at me, holding my hand. You're not Clara. His certainty made it hard to breathe. This was a trap. Everything Ethan had said was a trap. Clara had been in a coma for 5 years. Ethan smirked bitterly. She doesn't know my stomach hurts when I work too hard, or how to make hangover soup. She wouldn't know I hate sweets or that Emma always uses exactly 3 sugar cubes. Even I didn't know Emma's phone password. Linda said she didn't know Emma's phone password either. Ethan slowly advanced, his eyes glowing. If you're Clara, how do you know? And where the separation papers are saved? You're not Clara. You're Emma. He spat out a barrage of words, clutching my shoulders tightly. That day wasn't a dream. You want my life, right? Emma, take my life. I'll give it to you. You come back to life. It turns out even in Clara's body, he would recognize me. Maybe I'd been by his side too long. He was accustomed to so many things that even in his drowsy moments, he would call out my name. I'm already gone, Ethan, I chuckled softly. This time, Clara's voice was clear and pleasant. Forever leaving you, never appearing in your world again. I could feel the strength draining from my body. Clara seemed angry. She was pushing me out. No, I said. You can't go. Ethan tightened his grip on my hand, staring in a daze. Emma, without my permission, you can't leave. Whatever you want me to do, I'll do. Even if it costs me my life. His voice faded from my hearing, sounding hollow. The feel of his hand grew stiff. Why would I want Ethan's life? I just wanted to distance myself from him. Despite feeling his pain, his reluctance, and his feelings for me, so what? Truly, the saying is right. Late affection is worthless. I saw Clara fall in front of me, saw Ethan call for an ambulance, saw him stay by her side, waiting for her to wake up. Eventually, Clara did wake up, but I couldn't return. I saw Ethan realize immediately that Clara wasn't me. Saw him leave the hospital shattered, crying in a corner. I even heard him mutter, "Why come back if you left? Why leave again if you came back?" He repeated over and over. Later, I sent Linda a message asking her to arrange my burial, sprinkling my ashes on a mountain. Linda did it without opposition from Ethan, but ever since, he would sit on that mountain from morning till night. When Clara awoke, he ignored her. My guess was right. Ethan would soon discover Clara's old tricks. He would live his life with guilt towards me, and in my next life, I won't meet him again.